Shabbat Shalom. There are many debates in our tradition as to what messianic times, what the times of the Mashiach will look like. Maimonides in the 12th chapter of Hilchot Melachim, of Laws of Kings, Maimonides writes very famously, that it will look exactly like it looks right now, that nothing will change in terms of the natural order. Nature will continue uninterrupted, and rather it's the human reality or the political realities that will change. In Maimonides' words, Al Ya'ale al Halev, don't allow it to enter your heart, to emerge in your thought, Shabimot Mashiach Batel Davar Mimin Hago Shel Olam, that anything from the way the world works, from the natural world, that anything will be canceled or annulled, or that there will be any type of novelty or anything new created in terms of the physical act of creation or the world in which we live, but rather everything will continue as is, with the exception of a newly aligned political reality of the world recognizing the one true God, and a world that embraces the concepts of peace and togetherness that emerge from that. The Ravid, who's a famous commentator on Maimonides in the 12th century in Provence, he asks a question from our Torah portion and says, the Torah seems to indicate that the world will change. And he quotes in particular the vision where it says in the beginning of Parshat Bechukotai, it says, I will bring peace to the land, v'natati shalom ba'aretz, and you will lie down with none to frighten you. And I will cause wild beasts to withdraw from the land. V'hishpati chaya ra'ah min ha'aretz. I will cause wild beasts. I will remove wild beasts. And the Rav Avram ben David in the 12th century said, well, Maimonides, this seems to indicate that nature will change, that God will eliminate wild beasts. And the Midrash on this verse offers a number of different interpretations of the sages as to what exactly this means. I will remove wild beasts. According to one opinion, it means that there will be fewer species of wild beasts to threaten humanity. And another says, no, the nature of the wild beasts themselves will change, and they'll become more tame. But either way, that seems to be a manipulation of nature. And didn't Maimonides tell us that in messianic times, nature will remain the same? One interpretation, which I heard a number of years ago, said, according to Maimonides, let's embrace this idea that, and according to Maimonides, nature won't change. The wild beasts won't change. What will change is us. What will change is how exposed and how vulnerable human beings are to attack. Because wild beasts thrive in places where there are no humans, or in places where there are no settlements or no concentration of human activity. When humans establish activity, that's when the wild beasts are typically pushed out and are no longer a threat to human beings from the human perspective. And so this interpretation said, the promise is not really about wild beasts. It means that you will be less vulnerable because you will be around others, because you will have others to lean on and to protect you. That's the promise. I think it's a beautiful interpretation which stays consistent with Maimonides' approach that nature is not going to change, but human nature will change. That's the ideal of the Mashiach, of the messianic ideal, is that humanity comes to a point in which we are there to protect each other, is that we're standing alongside each other, and when one person is attacked, then everyone stands up to protect those who are so vulnerable. And of course, this isn't only for wild beasts and for the threat that represents, but the attack of violence and those who celebrate it, and the widespread abandonment of the Jewish people by so many in this world. What we feel in such an acute way, what we have felt, is that as our people have been attacked, who is standing up to defend? Who is standing up against terror? Who is going to make sure that these attacks don't happen again? And we're very blessed that we have a state of Israel. We're very blessed that there is a Tzahal, an IDF, and that there is so many components of Israel's defense, and that there are so many in our own community who have stood up and supported security and defense to make sure that should those who wish harm against our people or against anyone in the world, should they try to act, that we won't stand alone, that humanity, that the Jewish people won't be isolated. And that's the promise in our parsha that God gives, that one day that the wild beasts will be removed from the land. Not that there won't be wild beasts and not that there won't be violence, but that you won't be vulnerable to those threats and to those attacks. That's a great vision, and a vision that we embrace every day as we look for partners, as we look for those to stand with, and we look to each other within our community to stand together. It's an extraordinary blessing to be able to find that support and that love within our community and within our environs. Wishing you a Shabbat Shalom of peace, of security, of love, and of togetherness. Shabbat Shalom.